Just a quick thing before we get into the video. For those of you who want to get into the meat and potatoes of the performance review, there are chapter markers in the description under the time codes and on the timeline of the actual video, so you can skip around and get to specific points that you're looking for in particular. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. I haven't been this excited for a LeBron since probably the 19. All kidding aside, I really did enjoy the shoe's look aesthetically, but from a performance standpoint, eventually the shoe became a bit cumbersome to play in, and eventually I developed some issues with my foot, specifically around the ankle area on my left foot, just because, playing in that shoe, it's a bit on the heavier side. Again, it's a bit more cumbersome to wear overall, and so eventually what I ended up doing was getting a pair of LeBron Ambassador 13s, and maybe my feelings toward the LeBron 19 was a bit swayed because of LeBron himself. But overall, I switched over to the LeBron Ambassador 13 and really enjoyed that shoe. So upon seeing the LeBron 20 for the first time, what I thought immediately was they took all the best stuff from the Ambassador and brought it over to the LeBron 20, rather than the 20 being an amalgamation of every single LeBron signature shoe. It really was kind of a recreation or kind of like a reset button for the LeBron series. Now, one thing they didn't carry over from the LeBron Ambassador 13 was that price tag, and I paid roughly about $100, and I would say that, in terms of cost versus what you get in terms of material and cushioning, I would say $100 is a fair price to pay for that shoe specifically. Now, on the LeBron 20, you have a $200 price tag, and so, we'll get into a little bit later why or how they try and justify the cost of that shoe specifically. When it comes to the retail packaging for the LeBron series, the LeBron 19 had a heavy emphasis on retail packaging experience, and part of the experience for me is the unboxing experience. And the LeBron 19, presented to you custom tissue paper for each colorway, along with an exploded view of the technology and some of the upcoming colorways on that little ticket-like drop-in card. On the LeBron 20, you have something similar, but in this case, there's no real gimmicks or giving you an idea of what colorways are to come, but it is color matched to the shoe itself, along with that tissue paper. And on the card itself, it has an exploded view of the technology, which is a welcome thing to have so that you're not left guessing what's in the shoe and you can really just see it for yourself. Now, the box itself is a slide out drawer box, and we haven't had one of those in quite some time. I don't remember the last time we had a slide out drawer box, but on the front of it, you have the Lion's Head logo, Strive for Greatness, along with the LeBron crown logo. Cleveland, Miami, Los Angeles, all the teams he's played for. Cleveland from 03 to 2010, Miami from 2010 to 2014. An infinity symbol over the Cleveland years from 2014 to 2018, which would presumably mean, forever Cleveland, which, wouldn't be a surprise. Los Angeles from 2018 to now, and then Nike patent 2022. Around back and around the corners of the back of the box, you have double X, obviously meaning Roman numeral 20, and then a little bit of a diamond cutout in the middle of the box with the LeBron crown logo, and the double X, signifying the LeBron 20 or Roman numeral 20. Now, what I wanted to do, similar to last year with the LeBron 19, I wanted to touch on some of the Easter eggs that you see throughout the shoe. In past years, you had a lot of Easter eggs maybe on the retail packaging, but not so much on the shoe itself. There was maybe some initials for his kids or his wife, area code for Cleveland or for Akron specifically. But on the LeBron 20, as you would expect, there's a lot more emphasis on Easter eggs and kind of call outs to his career. So let's just jump right into those. Starting things off, you have a little bit of a cutout from the outsole that exposes the Cushlon midsole that goes throughout the shoe, with a crown logo that's embossed into the foam itself, and that's on each medial side on the forefoot area. Moving on to the inside of the tongue, each tongue has its own individual message. So the first tongue says, designed and engineered to the exact specifications of the next generation, and just wanted to note that the next has two X's to just obviously denote LeBron 20, and obviously highlighting the 20th year of his NBA career, his 20th signature shoe, and something that should be highlighted. But also the fact that he is realizing that, he is getting there up there in age, and this is presumably for the next generation of athletes, and maybe more so his kids, Bronny and Bryce. On the other tongue, you have LeBron 20 and Roman numeral 20, Pink Diamond Collection, established 2003, which is obviously his first year in the league. On the lateral side of each shoe, you have a double swoosh, and that was something that was a bit of an interesting design decision, but it was pretty cool nonetheless. And, LeBron has always been the one to kind of push the envelope with Nike swooshes, either hiding them, moving them into strategic places, or just kind of doing something different with the swoosh itself. Then on the medial side, you also have what looks to be a leather-like texture. Hopefully it is a real leather or genuine leather, considering you're paying $200 for these shoes. So a nice little premium touch would be a good touch to this shoe. In terms of that double swoosh, it's a bit of a vinyl swoosh on the outside with a little bit of an exaggerated plastic swoosh that kind of flies off of that, reminding me of the LeBron 8 and how that kind of ties into the heel loop that pulls the shoe on. And then beneath that is another leather-like texture. Again, hopefully it is a genuine leather. On the heel cup area of each shoe, you have a leather tab that has a LeBron crown logo with the Roman numeral 20 below that. And from a distance, and I'm pretty sure it's just me, but on videos and pictures that I saw, it immediately to me looked like the Wu-Tang logo, and I'm definitely off, but for me, just seeing it from a distance, it definitely looked like the Wu-Tang logo. And I think if you kind of take the shoe at a glance, move it away from you, maybe it would look like that, especially with that golden colored leather tab that it has. It just, I don't know, for me it looked like that. Moving on to the forefoot area of the shoe, at the bottom of the laces you have a double X, Roman numeral 20. Again, that storytelling throughout the shoe, but you have the double X, Roman numeral 20, in a metal lace lock type of touch, and I don't think it's functional, obviously. I think it's more of a design aesthetic decision, but it's a nice premium touch nonetheless. On the outside tongue area, you have the LeBron signature embossed on the tongue. Again, it appears to be a leather-like texture. Hopefully it is leather. I think it is leather. Below that, you have the Roman numeral 20, again playing into that 20th year, 20th signature shoe storytelling. And then below that, you have a leather tab with a X stitched in there to keep the laces in place, and on obviously the other shoe, same thing with a single X on that tab. Moving on into the inside of the shoe, on the insole, you have a tab, a circular tab that's stitched into there with the LeBron crown logo, obviously the XX, a diamond-like pattern between those, the Nike swoosh, and then some of the things that appear to be obviously LeBron's core, which is family, loyalty, and community. Below that, you have passion, fearless, and tradition. So again, nice touches on some of the colorways I've seen so far. You have print that's on the insole, but in this case, it's a plain insole with just that patch stitched into the insole under the heel. Moving back outside to the shoe, on the mudguard area, you have laser etching on that mudguard area and kind of like an outrigger, which obviously has kept my foot in place while I was testing, but you have some of the laser etchings on there, palm trees, you have the LeBron name, crown logo, king, palm trees and cameras, things of that nature that are all call outs to Miami, his time in Miami. You got the land etched in there as well, so his time in Cleveland, his hometown, just a lot of storytelling on there. And then some of the call outs to his collaborations with Miss Cartoon in the past and those colorways. Moving on into the outsole, there's a lot of storytelling elements on the outsole itself, but what I want to start off with is the Dunkman logo, just because it's actually pretty unique. If you look closely, you can actually see a lot of detail on that logo. And so on the jersey itself, there's a little bit of like creasing or wrinkling. In the jersey, you have a little bit of creasing and wrinkling on the shorts. But then if you look really closely at the shoes, there's actually double swoosh. So this Dunkman here is wearing a pair of the LeBron 20s, and that's just a crazy amount of attention to detail for something as small as that, something that most people won't see that you're playing against, but obviously something that is there. Moving on into the midfoot area, you have a little bit of a carbon fiber shank plate. Not a huge carbon fiber shank plate, enough to kind of get that sensation of that propulsion, but you have the signature of LeBron in the middle of that shank. Now, moving on into the actual storytelling of the outsole, a few of the things I wanted to point out, you have at the very toe of the shoe, you have the state of Ohio outlined with the star over Akron. You have a crown logo with 4 circles or presumably 4 rings to signify his 4 championships. Moving down to the ball of the foot, on each ball of the foot you have the GOAT just kind of patterned in there. So obviously LeBron calling himself the GOAT. I did see a couple things like the number 23, and I don't know if it's just me wanting to find things or if if it's just me imagining things. But I also saw a little bit of what seems to be an outline of a skyline, which could be Akron, it could be California, I don't know. But again, there's just a lot of storytelling on this outsole. In terms of my initial step-in impressions, getting them on foot, I noticed they were a bit snug in the beginning, especially getting those laces tied, and it was a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning for people who like that one-to-one fit. If I'm recommending a size, I would recommend going true to size. If you really want a little bit more room in the toe area or in the toe box, I would recommend going up a half size. What I will say though is that if you go true to size and you're worried about it being a little bit too snug, playing in them and walking in them casually for a few hours will loosen up that knit, and it kind of feels like it molds to your foot. And the only way I can kind of compare that is how the Kobe line, some of the insoles kind of mold to your foot the more you wear them. That's how it felt with that knit upper. When it comes to the cushioning on the shoe, the LeBron 20 features a top-loaded forefoot zoom and a bottom-loaded heel zoom, and in my brief testing I will say that the ride is plush while also being firm, giving you a good court feel without being too firm and too uncomfortable like a guard shoe or a traditional guard shoe. So I think, in my opinion, playing in these on this court, bigs will like them just because it provides that springy, plush cushioning while also providing a lot of court feel. So guards will like the shoe as well. Given that it's a low profile shoe, it is a bit of high off the ground. I don't think that's going to deter anybody, so I would recommend this for bigs and guards alike. Now, earlier we talked about the traction and the storytelling elements of the outsole. Now, traditionally when there's storytelling elements on a shoe, that usually doesn't bode well for the traction or how it performs on the court. Now, given that I did play on an outdoor court, which is traditionally an easier court to play on because it's just grippy in general, and an indoor court, it is all dependent on how clean the court is and how well it's maintained. But on the outdoor court, it gripped very well. And just to go on top of that, the treads on the outsole as well, even though there are storytelling elements on there, it didn't wear or break off or anything like that. So I think they're good for both indoor and outdoor, with a lot of durability in there as well. Now, when it comes to value, everyone has a different threshold in terms of what they're willing to spend, especially on something like a basketball shoe. To some, like me, getting the best technology is the most important thing. For others, getting the most value out of a shoe, because it's literally just a means to an end. I wear the shoe to play basketball in. For me, I wear the shoe to look good in them and to actually get some comfort out of it as well, and just to have fun in the shoe and test them out, see what I think about them. At $200 is a bit steep for a basketball shoe, and the last few LeBron signatures have come in at that price point. But with this particular shoe, you're not getting this super cutting edge shoe. You're getting a low top shoe with a knit upper, some large volume zoom bags, and a lot of storytelling and a pretty cool presentation in terms of the retail packaging experience. But again, $200 is a bit of a hard pill to swallow. But if they were to have priced it at $180, I think that would be more appropriate. But again, $200, I think if you wanted to wait a little bit, you could possibly get them on sale maybe later on in the season or mid-season. Obviously, at this point, they're very hyped, so they're probably going to sell it very quickly, and you won't really be able to get them at retail, especially if you want to get them on sale. But again, if you wait a little bit, patience is a virtue. You'll be able to get them at a slightly discounted price, probably as we get closer to the mid-season point. And that's going to do it for this review. If there's anything I missed or anything you would like to know about the shoe, please leave a comment. If you liked this video, like it. If you didn't like it, dislike it. But if you really liked it, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. You have a good day.